A lot of people would like to start living more frugal type of lifestyles in order to save money, but a lot of people can't even imagine what that may look like or what frugal might actually really mean. So let's look at some videos online of this type of lifestyle and see if this is something that you may want to do.
I'm frugal and spend less than $200 a month on groceries. So these are some of the best tips that I keep in mind every time I go food shopping to pass along to you and for you to stop being an idiot. This one makes me want to rip my hair out. Please, for the love of God, do not buy anything pre-cut. The extra amount of money you are spending is outrageous.
Yes.
Stupid crap is $7, but if you just take a couple steps over to the actual pineapple, it costs less than $3.
Really, you're paying for the convenience. I don't know if a lot of people understand that. And then also what I find is some of those pre-cut things, they be a little stale. The fruit be a little old sometimes, but sometimes it's not, right? And it's really interesting to see how much of a price difference it is when it is pre-cut. But pre-cut, in my opinion, is just something that a lot of people in America are so used to because it's so fast-paced and everybody's like, I'm on the go. I don't have time to cut up my vegetables and my fruit. All while being upcharged like an extra $3 to $4 for less food. You don't even get as much when you get it pre-cut that you could have got when you got the larger amount that's not pre-cut. It's like highway robbery. But they understand how Americans are so fast-paced and we just want everything kind of quick, right?
And it's convenient. Wake up! Oh, I saw these little bananas and it reminded me of my ex-boyfriend. Ugh. Not a frugal hack, but if you support this and think this is okay to sell fruits and vegetables and plastics, you have a mental health issue. Stupid. Okay, moving along. Please, for the love of God, just start buying store brand things. Why are you going to spend $3 more to buy the name brand peanut butter? Stupid. But I like how the name brand tastes. Well, you don't have money right now, so shut up. So this name brand box of cereals, $7.50, but you could get an ounce more, the store brand, and spend almost $3 less. Come on. Yes, see, I'm judging you. And the thing is, you may just say, well, Bradley, what does it matter? It's only saving me $1 or $2 here or there. You have to remember every dollar matters, and imagine a whole shopping cart of name brand foods. It's going to add up quick.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with getting the off-brand. Some of these places are quite literally the same company, like working within each other, but there's a sister company. For example, says here, Aldi has two sister companies, Aldi Nord and Aldi something. And I'm assuming that might be some sort of other language that I ain't gonna try to understand. And it says here, both companies are owned by the same family who own Trader Joe's. So Aldi and Trader Joe's are like sister companies. Do y'all think that they probably have similar food and then maybe some of the cheaper food is going to Aldi? Because we know Aldi to be like a cheaper alternative for food for the people who know about Aldi. But when we hear about Trader Joe, we think high end, right? But it's the same company. So in my opinion, I don't think the food is going to be too much off, but who knows? Symone, trying to keep you out of debt. Hit subscribe, touch it free.
Possibly unpopular opinion, but I would never buy prepared foods like this. You always have to remember when someone else is doing something for you, it's going to cost you more. This whole thing of pasta being $5, I think is so expensive. If you bought the ingredients yourself, it would come out to be cheaper in the end. My next piece of advice is don't really fall for things that are being sold in smaller packages. Here's a great example. If you just spend $1.40 more, you're going to get almost 10 ounces more of this. Or this next example, why would you spend almost $5 for these two sad, pathetic little slices of cheesecake? Literally right next to it, there's a whole one for $3.
Look, and the reason why I would do it if I did is because I don't need all that cheesecake anyway. I'm gonna be in the gym putting in overtime. So sometimes the smaller things, depending on what it is, it's like, yeah, that's probably gonna be better for me. I don't know about everybody else, but when it comes to the desserts, I don't need a whole bunch. Shouldn't be in the aisle anyway, really. Point me to the fruit.
Stupid. Even this example, I did the calculation of the cost of getting these bottles of Arizona as opposed to one large jug of it. You're paying about 2 cents more per ounce if you bought the bottles. So important when you're grocery shopping to not be lazy and stupid and do some calculations to really make sure you're getting the best deal.
Look, I know a lot of people want to get the deals on the teas and stuff, but to be honest, people can just make their own tea. You can get tea bags. Now, I understand he's showing a comparison here, but I also feel like if you get the tea bags, get you some honey, which is probably better for you anyway, than a whole bunch of sugar, and just make your tea, you can make a whole bunch of tea for way less than that jug that he just showed. That is also packed with sugar. And another thing, a lot of the stuff on the shelf is so packed with sugar. There are so many people battling sugar addictions because that's all this is sugar and a whole bunch of processed ingredients. You really want to stay out of the center aisles if you want to try to maintain your health. You want to stay on the outer aisles. Whenever you go to the grocery store, you'll notice all of the fruits, vegetables, produce, all of that stuff. It's usually right on the edge. You start getting in the middle and you start getting into all that soda, the chips, highly processed foods and stuff like that. It's going to probably not be the best for your body, but yeah, you can still try to get deals within it. But health is wealth. So that's why I want to make sure I'm talking about it.
These mini Reese cups, there's 10.5 ounces. They're selling for $6. Literally 2 shelves below it, there's Reese's 10.5 ounces selling for 30 cents less. Don't just be quick and lazy and grab the first thing you see. Like, do some calculations. All of the savings will add up. Bradley, I like the shape of the Reese cup. Shut up.
Look, I would save just by not getting the Reese's because a lot of this stuff is just so bad for your body. And I don't want to be the one like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I do eat some things that are not good for me. However, if most of the stuff that you end up buying is a whole bunch of highly processed foods and stuff like that, something to consider how dangerous that can be. Many people are severely addicted to sugar in the United States and they don't even understand it because they're not looking on the back of the nutritional facts to see how much sugars is being packed into all of these things, and you wouldn't even know that there's sugar in it. Look on the back of your favorite spaghetti and see how much sugars they have put in there. It's ridiculous. So I've got to the point where I just make stuff from scratch because it's so bad. Or if I don't make it from scratch, I'm on the back of the jar looking and see how much sugars did they pack into this, because trying to knock a sugar addiction is hard. And I know because I've had to do it many times. I've got rehooked because I went to the store and then I ate something and it has sugar in it. And it's like, you start feeding for it. You're like, oh, because when you get used to just eating fruits and vegetables and you eat that sugar again, it does something to you.
Hate for this next one. I cannot believe people buy water bottles. It's not good for the environment and it just makes no sense to me. What I've done was I bought a water filter when I moved into my apartment 5 years ago. I still have the same one and I replace the filters like 3 times a year. They don't really need to be replaced much, but you will save money in the long haul if you invest in a good water filter as opposed to keep buying water bottles again and again and again and again. Plus, fun fact, I heard most water bottles are not actually filtered water and you're just being lied to. This might be another unpopular opinion, but don't be pushed by sales to feel like you need to actually go for it. Just because it's buy 2, get 1 free. Ask yourself, do I actually have the money to spend $20 on soda this week? Plus, you shouldn't be drinking that shit anyways. And a way to fill your tummy up in an inexpensive way is to load up on starches, rices, pastas, potatoes. They are typically affordable and they are filling. Like, look at this. Buy 1, get 1 free. I'd be stacked on potatoes. And typically when you walk into a grocery store, you'll see that they have some coupons, may have a rewards program where you could get exclusive deals, or they may have like a point system where after you spend a certain amount of money, you could get money off your next bill. And these are some frugal steps that you could take the next time that you go grocery shopping.
And I like that he mentioned that a lot of that stuff is not good for you. And that's why they want to put it on sale. They want you to, it's like dangling the carrot in front of you, except this is unhealthy stuff they're dangling in front of you. Like, yeah, come get all these sodas and all this stuff with all this preservatives and stuff in there that are going to keep you sick and keep you tired and not give you real energy or not really do anything for your body. That's how they get us. But he has some really good tips on how to save money when you're shopping, especially when it comes to the pre-cut stuff.
This is your reminder that $10,000 a year is just $27 a day. So stop spending your money on all the stupid shit you don't need, because that's where all your money's going. I personally remind myself of this fact anytime I'm going to make a small, maybe impulsive purchase that I don't really need.
Look, I think that when people think about it in this aspect, how many people are probably blowing $27 a day? And if they just stopped, could save this sort of money. That is crazy. And I once heard somebody say trust but verify, but it actually ends up coming to be $9,855 a year, which still is no small feat, but just shy of $10,000 a year.
And I have a perfect example I want to share. As I was thinking about making this video, I knew I wanted to talk about something while I was like pouring my coffee. And I was thinking, as I was grabbing this mason jar, how I really wish that I had those cool glass, aesthetic looking glasses that people make like their iced coffees in. And I literally thought for a second, like, I'm going to look on Amazon and see how much they are. And also like maybe get a cool glass straw while I'm at it. But then I caught myself and I realized that I do not need a aesthetic looking coffee glass and a glass straw. Like, what I have works perfectly fine for me. I don't need to waste my money on that.
Look, that's how they've been getting people on Amazon. You can also take like old used spaghetti jars, put them things in some water if you need to soak off that paper. But I'm telling you, they look really nice after you get it washed good. And they're a little bit taller too. People use old pickle jars, things like that. There's no need to go buy it if you don't need it. Now, if you just keep them in high rotation and you don't have enough, that's a little bit different. But you also can wash them. But everything now being so aestheticized online is why I think a lot of people are just out buying stuff that they don't really need just because they're like, oh, it looks pretty. Now, what about after it looks pretty and you have to pay all that money back for all the things you bought? I don't like, If it makes sense to do, okay, cool. But there has to be a level of discipline, of self-control, of some sort of rationale whenever you're buying all these things, right? Also, who is it looking pretty for? Is it just so you can look at it and be like, oh, it looks pretty? And then, okay, after you say it looks pretty, then what? Life goes on, right?
And again, just $27 a day is $10,000 a year. So keep that in mind next time you want to buy something you don't need.
That is a very good way to look at it, though.
Here's 5 frugal things I do to save money as someone who took out $160,000 in student loans and is trying to pay it back. The first one is I don't turn on the heat. I'll really bundle up at home, and I have 2 comforters, which I wrap myself around when I sleep at night.
Now, what do y'all think about that one? A lot of people have their thoughts about people turning off the AC or turning off the heat or whatever the case may be. Now, I don't see nothing wrong with keeping it at a certain level so it's not going to increase your bill or have it sky high, because some people be cranking that thing up and they bills be through the roof. But I also have heard different perspectives of people just saying, hey, it's easier for me to just go out and make more money than to try to do all these things to cut back. But I also don't see nothing wrong with it if you're okay with just bundling up. And maybe not everybody wants to get more income so they can crank up the AC or crank up the heat, whatever the case may be, right? One thing we have to remember is when you have figured out a way to live within your means that works well for you, do what works well for you. What works well for me or for the next person might not be in your best interest. So I appreciate him sharing what works in his household.
Next, I only have coffee at home, and I kind of do like a double espresso, which will cost me about 8 cents a cup, which is a lot more affordable than Starbucks.
8 cents a cup. You know, Starbucks, you end up leaving there paying about $10 to $12 for a cup of coffee, or depending on what you get, right? It is outrageous to me that Starbucks makes so much money off of the coffee drinkers, and they just will not, some of them won't make it at home. They're just like, no, I need my Starbucks. The amount of money that could be saved. But then again, if you have the money, it's a little bit different if you don't care about just going out and spending this money for convenience. I feel like at some point, all the money that you've worked hard to accumulate in order to save or to invest to get you more money, I don't see a problem with buying the conveniences of life then. But if you're trying to live a normal average life and you're in Starbucks every day and you're like, oh, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, probably not the best idea, right? It's not a bad idea to just make it at home.
So don't really buy any drinks and mostly just drink water from my Brita pitcher. So no can.
And I mostly drink water out this same jug. I fill them. And we have a water filter on our sink. But before that, we had something like that. Yeah, there is no need for all these dang water bottles. And he says he doesn't drink soda. Same.
Soda or fizzy drinks at all. Next one's pretty obvious, but I try to cook most of my meals instead of eating out. And I try to make things that are very cost effective, such as chicken or eggs or potatoes. Cheap to buy, but filling and nutritious. And the last thing is I don't pay for gym membership. I sort of have a setup at home already with adjustable weights and a Peloton. There was some upfront costs about 4 years ago, but it was worth the investment.
Good.
I'm paying off $166,000 in debt, and these are some frugal things in my home. Mismatching pots, pans, and cookware because we don't have money for aesthetics right now.
Same.
My beat-up laptop that's literally held together by duct tape, but otherwise fully functional, and who even notices with the cutest mouse pad ever. I found this cabinet on the side of the street and turned it into a little library. I can't believe someone was throwing this out.
Look, the amount of people that have things on the side of the road is crazy, but you also got to be very careful depending on what it is that you're getting, because I've heard people have horror stories about cockroaches, that they've went and got things that were secondhand or whatever the case may be, or they went and got a couch, or they had something and it had little bugs in it and they didn't know and their whole house got infested. You just got to be careful. But do people find things on the side of the road all the time? Yeah.
Our cat and dog that we actually also found on the side of the street, and they're my favorite thing in this house.
So she found her cat and dog on the side of the street too? Well, that is a hack. But then also I'm like, I hope they weren't runaways, and I hope nobody was looking for them. And maybe I shouldn't think like that, but I have a dog and she's got out a few times, and I wouldn't want somebody to be like, oh, she's just on the side of the road. But who knows? Maybe she took them to the pound and then tried to wait to see if they had an owner or something like that. But you can't beat free, right? Free companionship. Constantly getting hate for my frugal life. Hold on. I don't want to get no copyright. So he's saying here, constantly getting hate for his frugal life is the way he's living. And he's saying after all that, he has $250,000 in the bank officially. Imagine getting hate, but at the end of the day, being financially stable. That is always the goal in life. Forget what everybody else is talking about. If it's working for you, keep doing it. Let them think what they think. Let me know what you thought about all of this down below. Do you have any frugal tips that you use in your everyday life? Are there any tips that you've seen here that you would like to apply in your life? But we have to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.